Hi guys, happy International Women's Day. I wanted to post an extra video today because I think it's really important to talk about the fact that women just don't invest as much as men do. There's been loads of studies that prove this and genuinely show that women are more likely to save money and less likely to invest money, which is strange because actually the same studies show that women tend to outperform men when they invest over the long term. Something to do with, more rational decisions and stuff like that. But what I wanted to do is introduce you to a few women who I think are amazing and who talk about investing publicly on their channels. And I think it's really important to support, women who do talk about it, because I think that as women, we're more likely to identify with other women when they talk about it. So I've basically sent 3 questions to each of them and got them to answer it, so you can sort of firstly hear a little bit about the challenges that they have had and the advice that they have for you when it comes to investing if you're a woman. And secondly, in the hope that you will go and support their channels and the work that they're doing in, spreading the word as women about investing. So yeah, enjoy the video and make sure you go and support them as well.
I would say that the hardest thing about starting to invest is actually getting your confidence in it. The first thing that I did was kind of devour every single financial book and every single blog and every video I could. And I think it was actually getting the fear of investing. Once I realized I was already investing when I was investing in a pension through my company, it kind of made me see, oh, wait a minute, this isn't just for somebody who knows more than me or has been involved in this world before. I can actually learn the building blocks and understand this. And I think it was also seeing a lot of people that I looked up to. I thought they had great businesses, they had got a great ethos of life, and I thought they're investing and saving, I can do it too, there must be something in it. I think the other challenge for me was actually when I started to invest, there wasn't the amount of platforms there are right now. We didn't have the likes of Trading 212 or Free Trade or Stake or anyone like that. There was only pretty much a couple of choices and they were all charging quite high fees. So I went for Vanguard at the time, who I still really loved because they were low cost, gave me everything I wanted, but we were really kind of restricted on what we could choose. And I love the fact now as an investor that you've got so many more choices and it's so easy and simple, but that doesn't take away the risk. And that's obviously everything I would say, do your due diligence, research, learn, treat this as an important thing for you, not just something you do on the side to, hopefully grow your money. It is investing, it's long term, so treat it that way.
I think the biggest challenges for me were knowing where to start, knowing where to invest, and also knowing if I was making the right investment decisions or not.
When it came to investing, I had quite a few challenges to overcome before I started my investment journey. And these were based around the misconceptions I had in my head about investing. These included believing that trading and investing were the same thing. I also believed that investing was for the rich and for the elite, and it was not something that was accessible to me as an everyday person. And I also just didn't have anyone around me who was investing. So I didn't see anybody talking about it. I didn't know of anybody in my life who was actually physically doing it. And so I really believed that it was something that wasn't attainable for me.
Hello, I'm Charlotte from the Looking After Your Pennies channel, and I just want to say a big thank you to Anna for having me over here in this video for International Women's Day. So the first question was about challenges that I faced when I first started investing. Now, I think I was probably one of the first women in my family to actually think about investing in the stock market. So I think my aunt was doing it, but I very much grew up in a household where risk was something that was completely avoided. We save our money and we keep it safe, and we don't want to risk losing any of it. So I grew up in this sort of household, so I never received an education from my parents or, pretty much any other adults, including teachers, until I went out and learnt it for myself. So for me, it seemed like this scary world where I could potentially lose all my money. So first thing I had to do was overcome those feelings that I had been taught about what the stock market was. So I had to do all of that unlearning. And then I had to find out how exactly the stock market does work and form my own opinions about what the risks are and how I access these platforms and what I should invest in. And I think this is a fairly typical picture for women today, is that we don't have enough investing role models who are women. So we're seeing more and more of it now, and you're very lucky to have people like Anna and other creators on YouTube that are teaching people about investing, and they are strong and impressive women too. And I think we need more young women, young ladies and girls to be seeing these strong women who know what they're doing with their finances, so that they don't feel quite so scared about investing themselves.
Hi everyone, this is Sujuti and I run the YouTube channel The Subtle Investor. So if I were to think about the first time when I started to invest, I would say my main struggle or challenge was just my own mindset. I was overthinking way too much, and it's really funny how powerful this mindset can really be, because the irony is that I work in the investment industry myself, yet it took me about 3 years to actually start to invest for my own portfolio. My challenge was that I was overthinking about everything, like where to invest, when to start to invest, and how much to invest. And when I used to, come into work and speak to different types of fund managers, some would say this fund is best or these stocks are doing well, while other fund managers would say the opposite about the different types of stocks or investments. And what I realize now, that there is no right or wrong answer, and I wish I just did my own research, kept it very simple by investing in an index fund just to get my money invested, rather than waiting for the right fund or the right moment to start investing.
I think as women in particular, we put off, or certainly generations before, we couldn't even have a bank account. And so for our mums and our grandparents and things like that, it wasn't an option to be saving and investing, because you didn't have the same power over your money or the household money. We're really in prime position right now to take control of these things for our life and our families and the people we want to influence. So I would really say, don't be put off. Whatever gender you are does not matter. Anyone shouldn't be scared of investing if you do your research, you learn how it works. It is simple once you get the basics, and it can seem very daunting, but just trust the process. Also, seek information from someone you can relate to. So perhaps you want to retire early, or perhaps you want to start a business and they're also investing. Follow that person, get used to how they do things, take it as advice, but then get your own advice as well.
So if you're a woman and you're watching this, my advice to you would be is to actually get educated on these things. There is so much information out there. You only need to watch another of Anna's videos or head over to my channel. We've both got some great videos about investing that will actually make that transition from non-investor to investor super easy and a whole lot less scary. I think you need to move away from the idea of keeping your money safe and growing your wealth instead, because we need more rich women doing great things with their money and building wealth for their families, for themselves, for any other reason that they might desire. And actually, taking that first step is not as scary as you think. It can be as simple as watching a few YouTube videos, reading a few blog posts, and just doing the work that needs to be done so that you don't find it quite so elusive and scary.
And for those who are afraid or scared to invest, all I will tell you is that it is only natural to feel scared of the things that we don't know or that are unknown to us. It's the same concept with everything else in life, really. So think about the first time you went to school, the first time you started university, the first time you moved to a new country or started a new job or bought your first home. Just think about those first few moments. It is always scary and it can be really overwhelming. But once you actually start to do that, and once you're already in the game, it becomes much more comfortable. So as a practical tip, think of investing like shopping. When you go to buy a phone or a laptop, you are also taking some sort of risk when you're going to buy them, because the actual product may not meet your expectation 100%. However, you're still buying them because you know that they are going to give you some use, right, at current time. So just like that, allocate a percentage of your monthly budget towards investing. It's just like another thing that you're buying. It may not provide you with an immediate help right now. However, in the future, it's really going to help you out in a meaningful way.
My advice to women who are scared to start their investment journey, and believe me, I can totally relate because I used to be one of those women myself, I would first and foremost recommend getting familiar with the basics and getting familiar with the jargon. So there's lots of jargon when it comes to investing, and sometimes this can overcomplicate things and make it feel out of touch. But once you familiarize yourself with these terms and these concepts, you'll quickly realize that it's not rocket science and that you are able to understand the concepts behind investing. The next thing that I would recommend is to keep it simple. You don't have to overcomplicate this, and one way that I avoid overcomplicating investing is by investing in index funds and ETFs. This just allows me to get access to lots of great companies and stocks and shares without having to make the decisions on my own. And lastly, I would suggest only investing what you can afford. So don't overexert yourself, don't invest your savings. So keep saving separate and investing separate. So have an emergency fund, but then have money that you can invest each month or each time you're paid. And that way you're not going to overexert yourself. When an emergency pops up, you still have money to pay for it.
My biggest piece of advice for any woman who is scared to get into investing is that every single person is scared to risk their hard-earned money. But if you don't try it, you'll never know what could have been. Just make sure you do your research beforehand, and you never know, you might try it and earn a lot of money from it. I think one of the main reasons why women are less likely to start investing than men is because they don't see a lot of other women doing it. And because they see a lot of men doing it, they might think it's male dominated, and it might intimidate them and make them scared to start investing.
In my personal opinion, women are probably less likely to invest than men because it's not around us. There's a lack of representation. So we don't see a lot of women talking about investing, and so we don't think sometimes that it's something that we can do or that we are supposed to do. But of course we know that's not the truth, but I think that lack of representation does play into women not investing. And secondly, I think women are still fighting for a space in the financial arena, and so it was traditionally dominated by men, and I think we're still finding our feet. We're still finding our grounding in this arena, but things are changing and we're going in the right direction. And I believe that more women are realizing that investing is for us.
So why do I think that women are investing less than men? Well, I think there's a whole load of reasons for this. I've already talked about the fact that we don't have enough role models who are investing, and the need to address that and see more women who are investing and have our kids grow up in households where there are strong women managing their money. But there's also societal issues as well. So we have things like women are more likely to be paid minimum wage than men, which means that they have less disposable cash to actually go out and invest. We also have issues around maternity leave, and this was a big one for me. I had a well-paying career, and then I opted to have children who I love, and I'm really glad that I did that. But my career took a backseat then. I earned less, I was paying into my pensions less, I had less money to save and invest, and that was all as a result of the policies that exist in the UK around maternity leave. And what we see is that women are typically, so obviously this is not true in all cases, everything I'm saying is like a generalization, but what we see is that women are more likely to be the ones that take the lead on things like childcare and also caring for older family members as well. So what this means is that they're not getting the same earning potential over the course of their working lives as men. And this obviously impacts on their ability and the capacity that they have to actually go out and invest. So what we need to do is we need to take positive action to address this. I would like to see more women standing up and taking action around investing. So even if that just means starting small, that can be a great thing to do, but also challenging the policies that we have in workplaces, starting conversations around money, speaking to our male counterparts and saying, hey, what are you earning? And making sure that we're getting paid fairly so that we have the same amount of cash to do these things, to actually go out and invest and work towards our goals. Thanks for having me.
So why I think women are less likely to invest than men? Oh God, I can actually think of so many different reasons, but I'm just going to put them into three main categories. First is the lack of financial literacy. I mean, this applies to everyone really, but I think it affects girls the most. Studies have found that girls' home education is tilted to be more about budgeting or saving, so things like wealth preservation, while for boys, the education is tilted to be more around wealth building. We women, we basically just need to realize that money is not just about saving or budgeting in the perfect way. It is also about growing, and the only way for money to grow is by investing it into a growing asset such as the stock market. And the second reason I think is not having enough role model. I mean, within the niche of investing, there aren't just many female faces out there, and I'm not only talking about online content creators, I am also talking about the whole investing industry itself. Even at my own company, there aren't a lot of female fund managers, and I can tell you that this holds true when you look across the whole investing industry. A study by Morningstar found that only 14% of fund managers are female, and that number remained pretty stable over the last 20 years. And finally, the third issue I would say is just our mindset. It's a fight against our own glass ceiling, and I hate to admit that most of my engagement when it comes to investing is with guys compared to girls. And every time I try to bring up the topic of investing with my female friends, I feel like I'm always like hitting this brick wall. So it is really this lack of willingness that I think is kind of holding us back. And to those of us who are able to break through that first barrier, the second problem we face is just the lack of confidence and being highly risk averse. This issue of self-confidence has been highlighted across many different research and studies, and it's not just limited to investing. It affects us when it comes to asking for a pay raise or asking for that promotion. Because we cannot control everything, because some of it is outside of our control, but we can at least start with our own mindset. And all it takes is just a simple yes from yourself.
I think women are still less likely to invest because, again, money is still seen as a taboo subject. So you'll even see from looking on YouTube, there's only a couple of female faces that are popping up, and sometimes that can seem quite daunting, particularly because there might be a culture that, oh, guys must know more about investing because they've been doing it for a lot more. I actually think that if you're thinking about investing, there's no better time than today to just start investing. Take whatever you can to get into it, because it's all about owning your financial journey, your life as well, and money is a tool and a resource. So the sooner that you get to grips with it, your confidence will then grow. You might make some mistakes, hopefully not too many that minimize any growth that you can make, but at least you're learning and you can have conversations with other people about it too. I think women are less likely to invest because they see it as very complicated, and it's not. Anything that we can grasp, it's easy to understand once you just get your head around it and take time with it. So although we might be less likely to invest right now, I really think we're going to see that gender balance grow, as there's so many options out there to actually start investing that it's not certainly a male dominated industry anymore. The females, we can do it just the same. So thanks, Anna, for having me on your channel. If you do fancy checking out my videos, I'm over at Mama Furfur on YouTube. I'll see you very soon.
Hopefully you found this video insightful, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.